What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Overtime Fantasy, where we go beyond the whistle to give you everything you need to act like Derrick Henry.
Good night.
Such a sore, sensitive subject.
Just such a monstrous subject.
Dude, no longer is Vance McDonald's stiff arm the best I've ever seen.
Dude, I still think that one's pretty much
That
the
one
best I've
was
ever
nasty.
seen. That guy's went on the
stiff-armed
I.
to the
You know when
IR,
you
yeah.
stiff arm somebody to the IR, that's pretty much as good as it's gonna
You
get.
should get arrested for that.
Vance McDonald stiff armed his soul, dude. Like his soul left his body, and that's what. Oh, it was nasty.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry's what was the guy's last name? Jacobs or something like that. Jacob. He made him look like a child.
Yeah. I mean, between the first
disgusting.
stiff arm, I knew the defensive back was in trouble when he didn't go low. I was like, all right, dude, you're about to get got. And he just got facialed the entire. He got facial for 15 yards.
Yeah, we'll see you on scout team.
Yeah, grab some bench because you're riding the pine. And then that linebacker couldn't even bring him down. And then Miles Jack just got slapped in the face and was like, all right.
He really, in his own mind, wanted to slow down just so he can stiff arm Miles Jack. It's like, should I do this? Nah, I really need this touchdown.
I mean, I'm not really tired, but I guess I could slow down a
I can
notch.
stiff arm one more guy.
Right. I got one more left in me.
I would not. One of two things happened in that film room the next day, today. Either that defense coordinator went over and over and over and over that same play. And, when it got to the stiff arms, he's like, everybody see this? Yep, this is what happens when you go high on a guy that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
It was either that or they just ignored it completely. All right, everybody knows what happened. Let's move on. We know how to get better from this one.
I mean, it seriously was that's how you really found out how big Derrick Henry was, because he made the linebackers look like defensive backs.
And
Absolutely.
how fast.
Right. It was scary, man.
People forget he runs a 4.5.
And obviously the Tennessee Titans coaches forgot, because he hasn't had...
All year?
Yeah, all year. How are you going to give a guy 8 carries that is that big? Oh, hey, we'll give him 8 carries throughout a 4-quarter game.
Yeah.
That's
So
ridiculous.
we'll get into his poor playing and his beast game last night a little later in the podcast.
We sure will.
Let me just ask a question. I'm just curious. All right, so you have a team that's on the 1-yard line. I know there's pressure on the offense, because you're backed up pretty much, at the end zone. Isn't there pressure on the defense to if a play like that does break down? Is there any type of pressure on the defense at all, or is that just
I will say it is far less than the pressure that's on the offense.
Yes.
But yeah, there's still there's always pressure on the defense. You want to hold them, especially in a field position like that. You want to hold them. If you can hold them on the 3-yard line and not let them get past the 3, then you got a real good chance at a block punt.
Yeah.
Because now that punter has to put his heels on the back of the end zone to get as much space as he can.
Yeah.
And then you have a decent shot at blocking that punt because it's a shorter distance for you to run.
Yeah.
For the defense, it's mainly don't forget about your assignments. I mean, I feel like the defense, I know in my mind as a quarterback, I was always thinking, man, we got to get the ball out of the end zone because I don't want to give up a safety, and especially the defense. You got to know the defensive line, all they're thinking about is safety. But you got to be true to your assignments. So, if you're a corner or you're an outside linebacker, you got to protect the outside. If you're a corner, you can't let anybody get around you. If you're the safety, you can't let anybody get behind you. And that all happened on that run. I mean, it's pressure that will go both ways. I feel like the pressure is definitely more on the offensive side.
Yeah,
because
for
one
sure.
small, I mean, think about it. A fumbled snap over. Fumbled handoff over. You get met.
you're pretty much-
You get met in the backfield or at the goal line. See ya.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Okay. So let's see what we're going to talk about this podcast. Obviously, we're going to do some starts and sits.
Mm-hmm.
We already kind of touched up on the game last night. Is there anything else we want to add? I mean, D.D. Westbrook had a really solid game. But
Yeah, he was taking some hits too when he caught the ball and held
yes.
on. I mean, he showed that he wasn't afraid to go over the middle and all that stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, the Jaguars just quit, man.
Oh yeah,
They quit. It's a sad sight for a team that pretty much was one quarter away from the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
it just goes to show you how much 1 year can change a team. Like that is literally. I mean, that's exactly what it's a complete 180 of what happened last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just, I mean, there's teams that also do it for the good. You know, teams will be just, you know, the Eagles weren't what they were last year, the year before, you know. And I think I don't know if it was the year before or 2 years ago, but that whole division was ugly. Like, I think the Redskins made it to the playoffs at like, I don't even remember how many wins they had, but they weren't even 500. Like, I don't even think they had 8 wins, and they made it to the playoffs or something.
The Panthers, I know, had 6 wins at one point and made it to the playoffs. They made it the wild card because they won the NFC South.
That's nuts. I get so bitter about that because the last time that the Browns had a successful season, they went 10-6 and missed the playoffs, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like when the Broncos went in with Tim Tebow, they were 8-8, and I was like, they get in at 8-8, and the Browns don't get in at 10-6. This is crap, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes back to, and I was listening to Kirk Herbstreit talk about the college playoff thing. I don't want to get into college that much, but he was just basically talking about how you don't let the 4 best teams in. It should be like that with the NFL playoffs. How do you not let the best teams, even though they have, 3 losses or 4 losses, if you know that your team is better than a team that has 7 wins, you deserve to be in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
But that's kind of interesting because last year you had Carson Wentz that got hurt and Nick Foles come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you still say like the Eagles were like one of the 4 best teams like prior to that Super Bowl run? You know,
I mean, their defense was scary good. That's one thing that really helped them out. So I think they still would have made it in there because. Foles, not only was he a backup quarterback, he was a starter for that team for a while before that happened. Before Wentz, I mean, so I think it would have. I think they would have made it regardless.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think you definitely have to just put the best teams in to get the best, games out there.
Yeah.
But wow, we
All
just
right, so
went from talking about that game to playoffs, everything. That's crazy. Okay.
So real fast, before we get into these starts and sits, I just want to give a shout-out to our man, James Weber, who is probably, by the time that this podcast release, is turning into a dad.
Shout out.
Yep.
Shout out, James.
You deserve the shout out.
I think that might be his first 100% shout-out from the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Well deserved.
With no whisper-ins. Well-deserved, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, buddy.
And any tips for James before we move on?
As being a dad,
Yeah.
find your dad voice as soon as you possibly can. I hit my dad voice the other day, and Logan stopped in his tracks and just like he had something that he kept trying to put in his mouth, and he's trying to run from me. Oh, I hit the dad voice. He stopped and dropped what he had. Like he was done. He was like, "Oh, sorry," like that was it. I was like, "Yes, I found the dad voice. This is awesome."
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, what kind of advice do I have? Gosh. I think the easiest thing to say is just patience. Like, you gotta have patience. And then, when you're married, you have to work as a team.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
If y'all are not on the same page,
they're not going to be able to. He's going overseas, man. Like,
For like a whole
she's
year.
flying solo for the first whole year, man.
Right.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Prayers to them, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
They and like another thing that people don't realize, you don't need to baby proof your house for like a solid 8 to 9 months.
yeah, and even
'cause-
that, like,
Yeah, because we went through the adoption phase, so we had to have everything baby proof. And like the way that we did it, we adopted in 3 days, so we had to have everything baby proof before we brought the baby home. And like it didn't need to be done until like last year. He could have been walking for a solid 6 months and still don't really need a baby proof anything except sharp edges.
yeah.
Sharp edges.
But speaking of baby proof, I got nothing. Sorry.
I was like, where are you going?
I was really trying to I might be able to just flow with this and roll with it and come up with a good shot at one of you guys.
Yeah,
but
I was like, what is he gonna say?
I was
Crap. Like,
I was just watching The Office, right? And Michael Scott, he was asked a question, and he just kept going on with the answer, like, and then it comes to an interview question for him, and he says, I don't really know where I'm going when I start a sentence. I just kind of hope that I find it in the middle. I got nothing right now. And it was making no sense.
That's great. Yeah.
But that was good.
That's kind of where I went there on that.
That was a
one,
Michael
so.
Scott moment. It's all good.
that's
Shout
gonna
out
say
to The
something
Office.
like, the playoffs are baby proof and your babies are. I thought you were gonna say
Oh,
something
like y'all are babies and I've already baby proofed this
yeah.
playoff.
I thought you were gonna say something like that. Like I was waiting for it.
That would
All
have
right,
been good.
so what's up? What were you going to say?
I said that would have been good.
Yeah,
You could have
yeah.
done that, but you're not
So you
Dan,
want-
so that's something else.
You want to hit us with the lineup that we have coming up?
Yeah, so we got some starts and sits. We have a new segment that we're gonna try since we're pretty much at the end of the year. Some shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Shoulda, woulda,
It's,
coulda.
it's man, like you just look back at how the year kind of unfolds, and you're just. It's like if you had a time machine, just go back in time. It's like, man, I would just completely just be the best to ever do this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of times in my life where I'm like, man, if I just had a time machine, I'd go back and I'd win this fantasy. Like I don't like if I'd had a time machine, I'd go back and I would invent Google. Like no, I just go back to win this fantasy league.
yeah.
Like and that's seriously the thought that goes through my head. I was like, man, if I could just go back in time, I'd have this person on my team.
Oh my
And it's just
god.
like I could do way better than that.
yeah,
Like
you can do much better
I
than
could be
that.
a multi-billionaire, but no, I just want to win this league and put my name back on that trophy.
You could have easily went to one of the FanDuel things or DraftKings, but no, you want this.
Millions.
You want our main league's trophy to
You
have
don't
your
want
name
this-
on it one more time.
Not the Sunday Million.
Wow.
You want the
My wife would just be looking at me like,
Really?
You could have had $1 million. Like we could be multi-millionaires. You went back in time to seriously put Derrick Henry in your lineup. What is wrong with you?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh man, I got all excited. My bad.
God.
Little bumper.
My bad. My
That-
bad.
the time machines are not real. Okay. So.
Yeah, we can't go back.
We can go back and fix this.
Yeah. No, we can't.
No, we can't.
All right, so hit us with the lineup again. You said
Start,
sits,
sit,
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Shoulda, woulda, couldas.
And do we have a stud of the past, Phil? You think you can hit that up before the end of the podcast?
I'll hit that up for the end of the
Nice,
podcast.
nice. All
You
right,
think
so-
you're gonna get it?
Nah, definitely not gonna get it. But Dan has a chance.
No, I'm telling you, man.
They're
Like
getting harder.
it's harder, man, because like you're not getting that like the true studs, of each year. You're kind of getting the guys that they're great, but they didn't have that standout year like the others. So
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna start this with my start at quarterback. My start at quarterback is Josh Allen. He was also my waiver wire pickup this week. He's going against the Jets at home. Marcus Mariota went for 282 yards and 2 touchdowns with 43 yards rushing against the Jets. And also remember that Allen is a mobile quarterback. Like the 2 weeks he's been back, the lowest yardage that he's had on the ground is 99 yards. Tom Brady, who hasn't been his normal self this year, went for 283 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the game before that, Matt Barkley, who was the backup for the Buffalo Bills because Josh Allen was out, went for 232 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Jets. And then also, just a real fast stat on what Josh Allen has done since the last 2 weeks he's been back. He has gone for 391 yards passing with 3 touchdowns, with 234 yards on the ground with an additional touchdown there.
So he's basically RB1,
Yeah,
but just launches the ball.
yeah. I mean, the one game he had 99 yards and a touchdown, and the next game he had 135 yards rushing. Like that's insane as a quarterback. That's great.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot like Cam Newton, except Cam is by far a better passer than
Yeah,
Josh
yeah.
Allen. He's still he has a lot of work to improve his passing skills. But man, that dude can run, man. Like people talk about Lamar Jackson's running ability, like Josh Allen, I think has more like upside running the ball because you don't really game plan for that. You know what I mean? Like with Lamar Jackson, you game plan about him running the ball. So yeah, man, like it sucks watching him too because he's not that good. But damn, like he can put it up.
I'll tell you what, though, man. You put some receivers around this guy.
Yes.
It can get dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine the bombs that he could throw to Tyreek Hill? I'm just saying, like that could be the one that you can possibly. He could probably overthrow Tyreek Hill. I believe it.
Really?
I believe he could.
He has an arm.
Yeah, I just like Josh Allen this week against the Jets. I think it's a good matchup for you know a decent quarterback.
All right, I'm going Mitch Trubisky.
Of course you
Man,
are.
tell us why.
How?
I mean, he's got a tough matchup. I think.
How
with the
depressed
Rams.
have you been these past few weeks with him on him on the injury report?
It sucks because I can't talk about him.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, it's a Sunday night game against the Rams. I have a feeling that they could have played him last week against the Giants. You know, I think if it was like a playoff game, he definitely would have been out there. You know, this is a must-win for the Bears. You know, they're in good position to take this division. The Vikings are still within striking distance. And I think Mitch Trubisky can come out and put up some points against the Rams because I think the Rams are going to come out and, you know, they're going to put up some points. It has some shootout potential, and I think they held them out that additional week to pretty much prepare them for this game Sunday night. So I don't know how y'all feel about that.
I mean, I like the home field advantage for him. I think Aqib Talib is coming back this week, which could make some things a little difficult. But that home field advantage in Chicago, Trubisky's coming back. If he's healthy enough and he's good to go, I mean, I think he can hurt him with his legs a little bit more.
Yes.
So it's not a bad play. I think there's better plays out there, but I think he's still a really good quarterback and he can get it done.
All right, who you got?
I got Deshaun Watson going against Indianapolis. I think that he will hurt you more with his run game again. I think all three of our quarterbacks have the potential to really go off with their running skills this week. I like it both ways with him going through the air with Demaryius and DeAndre Hopkins, and I think he'll get it done, man. I really like the matchup he's got.
Dude, I was so hoping like Tyler was here. Oh, I ruined the surprise, didn't I?
Yeah, you definitely did.
Crap.
It's all good.
Dang, because I know if he was here, he'd talk about like how the Colts defense is like they gotten so much better, and you know they're a good defense.
Well, because you got to hear he was dogging Deshaun Watson the other week, and he went off. So
I get it, like the Colts like defense, the fantasy wise, like they've been putting up points, but so I think the Colts and the Texans played in week 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Around then.
If you look at who the Colts played afterwards, like quarterback wise, they played like, you know, Darnold, Tannehill,
right,
Derek Anderson, Mariota got hurt, Blaine Gabbert, you know, Bortles, Kessler, like yeah, you're gonna dominate these guys.
Right.
You know, that in a pass heavy league, you're playing like pretty much the worst quarterbacks in the league. So Deshaun Watson is gonna. I think it's a smash spot for him, man. I think he's gonna light it up.
Yeah. So they did play in week 4. Deshaun Watson went for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I can definitely see something like that happening. It's in Houston too, right? I believe
yes,
it's in Houston.
yes, it's in
And if it's at Houston, I really like the matchup. I think that I'm gonna go out there and say on the bold prediction that he has close to 100 yards rushing.
Whoa,
One rushing touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns this week.
You're expecting just
Close.
a-
I mean, close. I think he's going to have around 80-something yards rushing.
That's bold.
It's bold, Cotton.
That is bold cotton.
So, all right, to wrap it up. So, Mike, you had Josh Allen. I had Mitch Trubisky. Phil had Deshaun Watson. So with Josh Allen, because you're picking him up. Which quarterbacks would you play him over? Like, he is right now ranked in the range of, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Tannehill, Stafford, someone like Baker Mayfield. Are you playing him over any of those guys? All those guys?
Yeah, I'm playing them over all of them.
Okay.
All of them. I don't like Kirk Cousins. I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins to begin with, and I'm not a fan against it for him this week. I don't like Carson Wentz this week. Carson Wentz he's kind of fallen off, and he's got a tough matchup this week,
All right.
Matt Stafford, not impressive to me
Yep.
this year. Baker Mayfield, he's kind of, I
Gonna,
don't know, he's kind of wishy-washy a little bit, Like,
Yeah.
he can have a great game, but sometimes he just goes out there and kind of manages the game. I think he's more impressive as a NFL quarterback than he is as a fantasy quarterback, if you ask me.
All right, so let's stretch it a little bit. I mean, would you play him over Tom Brady?
See, Tom Brady was another one that this week who are they playing again? I'm sorry.
They're playing at Miami. And before you answer, Tom Brady's career record at Miami is 7-9.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an insane stat.
It is.
Like, I think he's undefeated with all the other teams in that. Like, I think he's undefeated with Buffalo and.
If not, they're he's like 16-2.
That is
Yeah,
very
right.
hard to believe. Like, that's crazy.
Look, last year it was around this time last year.
they play him tough. Yeah.
They lost to Miami. It was at Miami. They lost
yeah.
to him.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying Miami plays against
Oh
them
yeah,
tough.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady this week. He was another guy that I was looking at possibly sitting. To play Josh Allen over him, I don't know.
So that's pretty much like the point where you'll have him. So he's right now he's ranked kind of like Tom Brady's like right outside like the top 12 range. So you're pretty high on Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, Phil. So
Yeah.
they have Deshaun Watson right now in the rankings I'm looking at. It's he's at number 8.
Okay.
I think he should be higher than that. You got guys like Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston over him. Would you play Watson over both of them? You got Rodgers.
I don't think I would play him over Rodgers because I think Rodgers has a great matchup with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that scares me, I know that the firing of Mike McCarthy, them getting a new offensive coordinator. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. It can either go. Aaron Rodgers unleashes like everything that he's been holding back this year, or it's still him in like a bubble.
Yeah.
So
No.
it's tough, but I still would play Aaron Rodgers because I like the matchup better than that with the Falcons. I mean,
With that, I really think it's going to be the first that you said. Like, I think
and I do too.
I think they're just going to be like, you know what do you want to do, Aaron?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You tell us what play you want to play.
Yeah, I agree. It's something was going on in Green Bay that needed to get settled. So I think Aaron Rodgers would be a guy I would start over Deshaun Watson. Jameis Winston, absolutely not.
Okay.
There's too many risks for interceptions and stuff like that, even though Jameis Winston has a good matchup too. So
Yeah, for sure. He's at home against the Saints. I think reports that I read were saying that it might be like kind of rainy, wet conditions. Mm-hmm. That's definitely something to monitor. I said Trubisky, and right now he's ranked kind of right outside the top 12 range.
Real fast, let me hit you with this one.
Yeah.
So Trubisky, would you play Cam Newton over him?
Yes, got to. Yeah.
You would play. Okay.
Yeah, I play Cam.
What about Russell Wilson against Minnesota?
No, I played Trubisky.
Okay. Jared Goff against Chicago.
I'll go Trubisky.
Trubisky?
I think Goff going to Chicago, I think they'll limit him somewhat.
All right. What about last one here? Tom Brady versus Miami.
I will go Mitch. I'll go Mitch.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All
Yeah.
right.
Maybe it's just my man crush. I don't know.
It is definitely your man crush. No, it's not. It's not a bad play. I like Trubisky. I think it, like you said, I think he's got a potential for shootout. shootout in this game. He is coming back, so he is kind of fresh. So I don't think it'll be a bad start.
Okay. Let's who are we sitting at quarterback?
I'll go. I'll start. I'm sitting Jared Goff, actually. So let's talk with the Bears and the Rams. I'm not so sure how much of a fan Jared Goff is to the cold.
Not at all.
Being from LA, being from a Cali kid, he's going to the Windy City, and it is, never really great conditions in Chicago around this time. I'm not sure how much passing they're going to do with, this type of pass rush they got in Chicago. I like Todd Gurley a lot in this matchup. I think they're going to just rely heavily on the run. Jared Goff will have a decent day, but it won't be anything close to what he's used to putting up.
I think they'll just feature Todd Gurley, because the Bears have a really good run defense. I think the game plan is just to create plays for him, whether it be split them out wide, dump off passes, screens. Because you're a quarterback. You were a quarterback. You were a great quarterback.
Wow.
How was it playing in cold conditions?
I hated every second of it.
Receivers, how was it playing in cold conditions?
It's a little different for them because they're using their hands a lot. They're blocking, they're running, and all that stuff. But I think it doesn't have that much more of an effect on the receivers as far as the quarterback.
Okay. So, yeah, man, I like the call, man. I'm not too big of a fan of Goff either.
Especially coming from Florida, where the coldest game I ever played in was 60 degrees, to coming up to Virginia, and I was practicing in the 40s, so that was miserable.
Sucks.
Yeah. So I just don't know, man. I don't like the matchup he's got this week.
All right, I'm going with my sit at Carson Wentz at Dallas.
Ooh.
So real fast, on Carson Wentz, even though he had a decent amount of points last week, he played the Redskins. The Redskins are beat up, they are just dismantled. He should have had, in my opinion, more points than what he had. I think he had in our league he had 26 points, which is average. And then before that, the 2 weeks before that, he had garbage games. So, he's got 3 weeks in a row where he's not had a good game. He's going against Dallas this week, and Dallas has a very good defense. That's why they are winning games right now.
Yeah.
And that's just, that's what I believe. I believe that they're winning games mainly because of their defense being so good. And it's a divisional matchup. Divisional matchups play real tough against each other. I think this week you sit Carson Wentz.
And another thing that I've kind of noticed, I don't know if the exact stat, but the pace of both of these teams, they're not teams that generate a lot of plays. They, their drives take 5, 6, 7 minutes. So yeah, man, Carson Wentz, I think he struggled a little bit his first outing. They played Sunday night a couple weeks ago. Right? They played the Cowboys Sunday night. I don't know how. I think it was 3 weeks ago, I believe.
I'll look that up. Give me a second.
I think it was before the Thanksgiving game.
I think that was against the Saints you're talking about, when they got blown out by the Saints.
You might be right.
So he actually had a decent game against the Cowboys. He had 31 points. He had 360 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and an interception.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't see it repeating itself. Dallas has kind of turned it on since that game.
Yeah, it's kind of the trend of both teams. The Eagles, they beat the Redskins, but they were trending down. Mm-hmm. Cowboys are trending up.
Yeah. He had a real bad game against even the Giants. Against the Giants, he had 236 yards and 1 touchdown. It's not terrible, but it's also only 17 points in our format, which is very, very friendly to quarterback. I don't see him having a real good game this week.
Shoot, I'm not a fan of Lamar Jackson this week.
Explain.
There's a lot of experts that are super high on him, and I get it. He, has the capability of getting 100+ rushing yards easily.
Right.
Because look, the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't, they're not great on defense. But I will say, if you look at the Chiefs this year, their home and road like splits.
Right.
Like they are by far better at home. It's just that
It's that atmosphere, man. That
Yeah.
that stadium, it generates a lot of noise.
Yeah, so Lamar Jackson's going to go into a hostile environment. He can't throw. Obviously he's a great runner. You are pretty much going to be facing the most explosive offense in the AFC, I would say. Is that fair to say?
Very fair.
I really think this game is going to pretty much get out of hand in the first quarter. I think Chiefs get up by 2 touchdowns, pretty much take away Lamar Jackson's running ability and force him to throw. And I don't see that ending well for him.
Okay, so I just want to kind of feed off of that. I haven't liked Lamar Jackson yet this year. Everybody's, when he got the starting position, I'm like, all right, let's see what he can do. That's the best that I've ever been on Lamar Jackson. Like, if you just look at the points that he scored, once again, I said this is a very friendly quarterback league. The most points he scored is 25. That's average.
Yeah.
I think that was against the Falcons.
That was against Oakland.
That was
Oakland,
okay.
yeah.
That's even worse. Okay.
His matchups here since he got the starting job.
I can tell you, it was Bengals, Raiders, and Falcons.
Yeah, Bengals,
Yeah.
Raiders, Falcons, and the Bengals are the number one. Like the
They're
friendliness
terrible
to the quarterback.
Yes.
They love letting quarterbacks score on them.
Yeah.
And he only scored 17 points against them.
Yeah.
Now, in some leagues, 17 points sounds good, but in our league,
That's not
our
good.
format, that is not good. That is not a good quarterback play.
Yeah.
And he did that twice against the second ranked Atlanta Falcons last week. 17 points. I don't like Lamar Jackson going against anybody. And then if you have him on your team and you think you're going to play him in week 16 against the Chargers,
No.
you're not in the. There's no way that you're in the championship thinking that way.
You bet. Like if you're playing him that late, he better come out like guns blazing. Like he better put up like a monster game against the Chiefs.
I'm telling you right now, if they do what you said they're going to do, they get up by 2 touchdowns and just like start coasting away. I bet they put Flacco back in.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he's healthy this week.
Yeah.
I seriously believe that because not only will they need to throw the ball, I mean Flacco he's been doing pretty solid this year until he got hurt. I mean he hasn't been anything to brag about, but the first coming weeks he was like, wow, okay, start Flacco. Now we need him to come in, and it's same thing could be happening to like Fitzpatrick and Jameis Winston when they come in the second half and they're just guns blazing. I could see that happening. Bold prediction. Mark it down.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it.
If they get down.
But I mean I was thinking the same exact thing. Like
Well, why don't you say it?
well, because you beat me to the punch.
I hear people.
It's going to be. He's not going to have a very long leash. That's Joe Flacco. It's been Joe Flacco's team for a while. Yeah, eventually it is going to be Lamar Jackson's team. I don't think Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson is what? He's undefeated, right?
3-0.
3-0, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there is.
3-0 against some of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah, yeah. But their defense is one of the best. Like they with that 3-game win streak. Can he manage the game with his feet? He can. He's just not a very good fantasy quarterback.
I agree.
All right, so Mike, you had Carson Wentz. I had Lamar Jackson, Phil, Jared Goff. I think. What would you say? Like out of those three, if we had a choice of these three, who would we say?
I would go with Goff.
I'd go Goff.
Yeah, Goff, just because that high-powered offense.
Yeah, I would play Goff, then Wentz, then Lamar.
Yeah,
I mean, because you're easily capable of getting a screen pass to Todd Gurley that goes for like 67 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
A quick bubble screen to Brandon Cooks and he's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
he doesn't have to do much, but I don't know.
would you play Goff over Luck?
No.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
I won't. I won't
look.
just so I can get under Tyler's skin. No.
All right, do you want to move on to running backs?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's go ahead and do that.
All right, I'll start with this.
Start it up.
I'm rolling with Justin Jackson.
Explain.
He ran well. He looked really good
did.
Sunday night.
He was running
Yeah.
violent too.
I like how he runs, and there's obviously some worries like how they're going to use him. But
I think they're going to use him just like they did last week. A perfect split between him and Eckler.
yeah,
I mean,
Eckler's he's gonna get his carries. He's gonna have his role, and that's fine. But they're playing the Bengals, and I believe they're at LA, right? They're not going to Cincinnati. They're going to LA.
I think they're in Cincinnati.
Oh, really? Shoot.
Chargers versus Cincinnati, so they're at home.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I mean, we talked about this Cincinnati defense. You're talking about the quarterback. I mean, they are bad all around. Like
Yeah,
you attack this defense with anybody.
I mean, they could easily, like Phillip Rivers, if you have him, start him for sure. Because I think Keenan Allen,
He's a must start.
Mike Williams, Tyrell Williams, they're going to go off. And I mean, I think that Jackson could be a very good fantasy play towards the end of the game when they're just trying to run it out. I mean, between him and Eckler, I think they'll get the bulk of the carries, probably an even split. But I really liked how Jackson took advantage of his carries last week. I mean, he knew that Gordon was down and was like, this is how you make your name for yourself.
Yeah.
And he said, man, I'm taking full advantage of this stuff.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
in his situation, you have to. Like, you got to make
ran
every
like-
run count because here's the thing: you're also auditioning.
Absolutely.
You know, like you're third on that depth chart, but that doesn't mean you can't be second or first on another depth
Exactly.
chart somewhere.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. I mean, he was just running like this was his last game. He was going off.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. I mean, I don't because the guy I'm playing has him in the lineup, so I'm kind of worried about that one.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
So my start is going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. versus Denver. Denver's got a fairly tough defense against the run, but last week Wilson, with the amount of time that he got, I think Breida went down in the first quarter or second quarter, so he missed like a full quarter of play and still got 134 total yards. He's going to get the full workload. He is going to be the man. I think the volume alone is going to allow him to get some points to be startable this week.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, he had that many yards against the Seahawks defense that was really just buying their time to get that game over with because they were up by a lot of points. Yeah. He is a starting running back. It's definitely a good play. It's just I don't know how much they're going to be able to run against the Broncos defense this week.
Yeah.
And if they're playing,
He also had 8 catches in that game last week.
yeah.
So they trust him to throw the ball to him.
Yeah.
So he could be a good check down option this week and maybe get 70, 80 yards in the air.
Yeah.
With another 20, 30 on the ground. That's 10 points.
Yeah.
I could definitely see it happening. I don't know. I need to see a little bit more of him to judge that.
Yeah, I get that.
You're not playing him because of the matchup. You're playing him because of the volume.
Yeah,
Right,
and
exactly.
He's
That's
he's
why.
going to
Exactly.
he's going to get every carry pretty much. I don't see them. I mean, last week there wasn't another running back that had a rush.
Yeah.
It was him and Breida. Breida went down. Breida's out this game. He's getting 100. I think he's getting 100% of the carries, and I think he's going to get another 10 targets. With a possible 6 to 8 catches.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And like with my running back, it's the opposite. You're playing him because of the matchup, not because of the volume.
Right.
He's not going to get that volume like Wilson, but
Yeah.
the Bengals are, what can we say about them? They suck. Sorry,
Well,
Kevin.
That's one thing we can say about him.
Shout out Kevin Cannell.
All right.
Who you got?
I'm going to start LaShawn McCoy against the Jets. The last time they played him, he had a monster game, and I think that they have a good matchup and a good game plan for the Jets. So I see LaShawn McCoy having a very, very solid game this week.
Yeah, well, I think last game, how many touchdowns did he have against the Jets? Was it 2 or
I think-
3? I know it was 2.
No, it was 2. It might have been 3 because I think that was my sit for that week, and he went off.
You know what? If you like had LaShawn McCoy as your sit every week, you'd be right like 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He went for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well,
13 and 2
what
touchdowns.
check his receiving?
No, he 5 yards. That was it.
5 yards. Okay, yeah. So it was just those 2 touchdowns. But yeah,
and they're going to be at home, so I think they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we got Jeff Wilson, Justin Jackson, and LaShawn McCoy. So Jeff Wilson, we talked about like the matchup. If you have someone like AP, and the Redskins down on linemen, they got Mark Sanchez. Would you play Wilson over AP? It's tough, man. That's a tough.
Only because Adrian Peterson's offensive line got hurt again.
Yeah.
This week, they lost.
Their guard.
Yeah, they lost. I can't even think of his name for some reason, but they lost their guard to a torn pec. He's out for the season. That's another injury to that offense. They're just so banged up, and they were banged up last week too. And Adrian Peterson had that 90-yard touchdown. But I trust Wilson against his tough matchup more than I trust Adrian Peterson this week.
All right, one more name. You got what about like Spencer Ware? Pretty much same kind of situation. Tough matchup. Probably gets a good amount of carries.
I think I like Ware more than I like Wilson.
Okay.
Because as far as the talent, I think they have the same tough matchup, and I think they're going to get about the same amount of action.
Yeah.
I just like Ware's talent more than I like Wilson's.
Yeah. Okay.
So real quick to go back to the AP thing. Last week against the Eagles, he had that 99-yard touchdown run, right? Or was it 92?
Just 90.
90 yards, okay.
Just 90.
Just 90, not
Yeah.
the extra 9? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't as impressive.
after that carry, he only had 8 yards.
Really? Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He had 9 total carries for 98 yards
Wow.
and a touchdown.
Wow. Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that it's not a really great play. So to go with Jeff Wilson, I actually like that.
All right. So what about all right, you got someone like LaShawn McCoy. Compare him to Justin Jackson. Would you play LaShawn McCoy over Justin Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you play LaShawn McCoy over someone like his Jackson's teammate Eckler?
Yeah, I would. Just because of the split carries. And I really think that they're going to utilize their receivers more than their running backs this week. I really do. And if it's going into the receiving game, Eckler is that receiving back. That's the only thing. But I would still go LaShawn McCoy.
Okay. One more name, Tariq Cohen.
That's my dude, man.
Okay.
I'm going Tariq Cohen.
Just wanted to see how far I stretch you.
You
How
stretch.
far can we get this to go?
You're pulling hammies now.
All right,
Yeah.
so you got Justin Jackson. Same question there with LaShawn McCoy. Would you play Justin Jackson over LaShawn McCoy?
I'd do Jackson.
You do Jackson.
Yeah.
Spencer Ware.
I would. That's tough. I'd have to go. Oh man, I'd have to go Ware just because, like I said, man, I just think the Chiefs would put it on. I mean, the Ravens got a really good defense, but this Chiefs offense, you cannot slow this team down. So,
All right, would you go Justin Jackson or Kenyon Drake?
I go Drake.
Really? Okay.
I go
Wow.
Drake. Yeah.
Well, let's get one more here to see Justin Jackson or let's go with Jeff Wilson.
I would. I think I'd play the matchup. I'll go Jackson.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So who we sitting at running back?
I'm actually sitting Spencer Ware.
Ooh,
I
really?
think I'm sitting Spencer Ware. I think
that is a tough matchup. I
Yeah.
get that.
I mean, regardless of how great the Chiefs' offense is, this run defense for the Ravens is serious, and I don't think the only way that Spencer Ware is gonna do anything will be on some screen passes or something like along those lines. I don't see him taking a snap, taking a power, and just taking it off. Like I don't see that happening.
Nope.
They
Well,
would
that
have to
honestly-
do some sneaky stuff to utilize him for him to do stuff this week against the Ravens. I don't see it.
Real fast, with how good that the Kansas City Chiefs have been as far as everywhere. Like, their coaching has been great. Like,
Right.
their game plans have seemed flawless. Do they even have a power run in this offense this week? Like, is that even in the playbook this week?
I don't even think that they ran. I don't think they run the ball from underneath the center. So I think everything's done from shotgun. So
Yeah.
regardless, I see an option. I see a zone. I don't see any kind of power. Maybe a
they're
trap.
they're going to stretch this defense as much as possible.
And if they try to do that, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, okay.
Especially with the speed of their linebackers and the strength of their defensive line, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm sitting Doug Martin.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's banged up right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually, I mean, past 2 weeks he's been solid. Like, if you play Doug Martin, I mean, you're happy with what he's done. He's going against the Steelers. They're at home, but if the Steelers play like they should play, like, this game should be over by halftime. This game should be just clearly over. And that would take Doug Martin out of the game because Rashard is definitely the passing back.
Now, what about C.J. Anderson going there?
Did he go? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did.
Sign C.J. Anderson. I don't know how much he'll take away from Doug Martin.
I don't know. I don't think he will, especially not this week. Maybe next week. I think. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. The Raiders have been such a mystery all year that the only mystery that they haven't been is, like, are they going to suck this week?
That's a good. Actually, they didn't play too bad last week, though.
They didn't.
No.
They didn't. You're right.
Yeah,
When I saw the Chiefs like kind of struggling, I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
yeah.
So
Okay.
my sit this week is Marlon Mack at Houston. My reasoning for that, Marlon Mack, the past couple weeks he's kind of struggled a little bit. He's had and he's got like I said, he's got a tough matchup against Houston. This is a divisional matchup. They're going to play each other tough. I would sit Marlon Mack this week.
Okay, fair. Okay, out of those three, Marlon Mack, Martin's, Ware, who would be the one if we had a choice to play? I would probably lean Ware.
I would lean Ware
I
as
lean
well.
Ware too.
Yeah.
Just the matchups that Doug Martin and Marlon Mack. I don't like those. I like the Ware better than the others, but
Okay. Let's move on to receivers.
wide receiver it up.
Okay. I say 2 weeks in a row. Adam Humphries. Yeah. It might
2
be,
weeks.
Might be three. Might be four.
This is 3 podcasts in a row because he was one of your pickups too
Absolutely,
on Monday.
man. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he's been doing pretty good in the absence of Deshaun Jackson and all that.
Yeah,
so.
he's just got that rapport with Jameis Winston. They kind of, I don't know if they were like roommates in camp or what, but they have a rapport that they really connect well with.
Yeah. I'll just add this. I mean, because there ain't too much to talk about with him. The Saints are the best run D, and they are the best against tight ends. So where is this production going to come from? Unless Jameis is just going to get completely shut out, which that's not going to happen. I
I
don't
don't
think.
see it
Yeah,
happening.
that's not gonna happen.
So who do you have, Phil?
I got Chris Godwin.
You got his teammate.
I
That's
got-
what I really
I mean-
wanted to say, but
Well, I think I stole him from you.
you did. But I'm fine with Humphries.
It's cool. I like what you said last week whenever Deshaun Jackson is gone, Godwin has a big game, and that's exactly what happened last weekend. He had over 100 yards again, and you predicted that. You're a genius. I'm sold. You've sold me on Chris Godwin doing good for the Buccaneers.
And he looked really good, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
He looks solid. I mean, put it this way: you got Mike Evans probably going to be matched up with Marcus Lattimore easily. Okay, so that puts who on Chris Godwin? Eli Apple and PJ
Williams.
Williams.
Did he come out of Florida State?
He sure did,
Man.
but he wasn't a nickel corner. He was an outside corner at Florida State. So
Okay.
I don't know. Doesn't really matter. He's in the pros now, making money regardless.
Yeah.
He can get burned all he wants against the Bucs right now. I don't care. So basically, that matchup is in favor for Chris Godwin. So we'll see what happens again.
All
you
right. So my start, I actually have 2 guys that I just want to talk about briefly. My first one I want to talk about is Cortland Sutton at San Francisco. I really think Cortland Sutton's going to get like the Kenny Galladay experience. I think it's just going to be hey, we are a professional football team, and hey, we do have to throw the football. Who's going to get it now that Emmanuel Sanders out? It's going to be Cortland Sutton. He's definitely going to get some action. He's going to be your number one wide receiver. I don't think he's going to be the best number one wide receiver, but he's somebody that he's going to get a lot of volume, like kind of like what Kenny Galladay has been getting.
Yeah.
And he has a good matchup against San Francisco
Awesome.
this week.
Yeah.
My other one, Zay Jones versus the Jets. Same situation. They just got rid of Kelvin Benjamin and who's the other wide receiver they just got rid of?
Holmes? No. I don't know. He wasn't good.
Yeah, he wasn't anybody that's really going to. He wasn't anybody that's going to take anything from Zay Jones, but he's the number one there now. With them going against the Jets, I think he's going to have a decent game this week.
Okay.
Like it.
All right. So yeah, would you play Cortland Sutton or Zay Jones if you had the choice?
I would just go with Zay Jones just because I like Josh Allen a little better than Case Keenum.
So all right. So you mentioned Kenny Galladay in your spiel. Would you play Sutton over Kenny Galladay? They're playing the Cardinals. The Lions are playing the Cardinals.
No, not with that matchup. I would play Kenny Galladay. He's kind of proven, like Cortland Sutton hadn't proven it yet, like Kenny Galladay has.
Yep. So
I would go with Galladay in that one.
All right. So what about you, Phil? You got Godwin. You got someone. He's ranked near side like Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon. Would you play him over those two or?
Actually, I really like Edelman this week. I know he had a kind of a rough game last week. He wasn't up to his normal numbers or whatever. But I was doing some research, and basically, in his career, in the last 6 games, he's put up. He hasn't put up less than 14 points against the Dolphins in his last 6 games he's played against them. That includes he had 22.4 points in one of the matchups. I like him this week in the slot over Chris Godwin, and that would have been my other start if one of you guys took my dude. So
nice, okay.
I like that over. I like Chris Godwin though over Josh Gordon though.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Don't point at me, freak.
Yeah. So hey, I think I'd play Adam Humphries over Julian Edelman and Josh Gordon. I just think I think it's just a safe floor, and he has that touchdown potential because I think the Bucs are going to be throwing the ball a lot Sunday.
They're going to have to.
And I do. I like Adam Humphries as well. Would you play Adam Humphries over Tyler Lockett?
Yes.
What about Stephon Diggs?
I wouldn't say Stephon Diggs.
Not that far?
Not that far.
What about Kenny Galladay?
I'll do him over Kenny Galladay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to the sits.
I'll start. Devin Funchess.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. I mean, he should be
people
dropped, man. Like, he should not be on rosters. And there's probably people out there playing him just because they think he's the quote-unquote number one, receiver. But do not play him.
Do not.
I agree. So my sit at wide receiver is Alshon Jeffrey at Dallas. Once again, same reason I'm sitting Carson Wentz. It really, in my opinion, is the same thing with Alshon Jeffrey as you just talked about Devin Funchess. He's not a startable wide receiver anymore. I think he's got like 6 games in a row where he hasn't scored over 5 points.
He's had pretty much, I think it was either 5 or 6 games less than 50 yards receiving.
Yeah.
And he's not even getting the targets anymore. Like, Golden Tate is the one that's getting all the targets on offense now.
Yeah, and Cowboys are a tough matchup. I wouldn't even go there.
All right, who you got, Phil?
I'm sitting Kenny Galladay. He has, like we said, we've been talking about, he's the only option for Matt Stafford, right? Well, he has a very tough matchup with
Cardinals.
With the Cardinals, Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is an elite defensive back, and I think he shuts this guy down.
Yeah. All right.
He's nowhere near Calvin Johnson. So.
Oh, no way. He's mini Megatron.
Yeah.
So, out of those 3...
Minitron.
Who would be, obviously Funches. You're not even thinking about him.
Not even-
No, the
Yeah.
best
Probably
one,
Galladay.
the best one in there is definitely Galladay.
Yeah,
like,
just because of the volume.
then maybe Alshon, but
Yeah.
you don't play Alshon. Pick somebody up off of waivers. Pick up Zay Jones. Pick up.
Like the people that we mentioned, like you play them over Alshon.
Absolutely,
In my
absolutely.
opinion. We got any starts at tight end?
I got a good one. And this is mainly this is only in the leagues where he is listed as a tight end.
Yeah.
And unless you have Travis Kelce or Zach Ertz, this is a must start.
So over Kittle too?
Over Kittle, over I would honestly, if you have Kittle, he's probably a flex option, but there in lieu of the top 5 tight ends, unless you got one of them, you're starting this guy. If you have him in a Yahoo league where he is listed as a tight end, Jalen Samuels. If you have him, put him in your tight end spot. It's going to be a running back split with Stephen Ridley. I prefer a 50% timeshare of a running back over a 100% tight end that's outside of the top 5.
I tell you, man, I got Gronk in a couple of my leagues. I'd play Jalen Samuels and wouldn't even think about, Gronk is going to the bench.
Yeah. Now let's
I changed my team name for that.
so let's make this clear. If he were a tight end, it would be a different story. He is a running back with tight end eligibility in Yahoo Fantasy Sports.
Yeah.
If you have him, put him in your tight end spot unless you have somebody like Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to give Travis Kelce a run for his money, but you can't bench Travis Kelce.
Right. I'm going Trey Burton. He has been so bad the past couple weeks, but I will have to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that Chase Daniel, he came in and kind of did his job. And I think Trey Burton and Mitch Trubisky, they kind of have a chemistry. And I think he's going to be featured in this game. I really do. Is he the best option? No, but I wouldn't drop him and pick up someone like Matt Lacoste or something like that. I would stay true to pretty much the tight end you played all year, which is probably Burton, and I think it'll pay off this week.
Okay. I have Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is not really much of a, it's kind of hard to sit any of these tight ends, but I like Jordan Reed for one reason and one reason only. Mark Sanchez is the starting quarterback, and he's not going to be going through any progressions. He's going to look for who's the easiest target to look at, and over the middle and to the slot, to the outside and the flat is where Jordan Reed will be, and that's where he's going to look. I just think he'll get a lot of targets this week.
The big bold prediction podcast that we had, Dan and I both predicted that he'd play. I think you said 13 games. I said all 16 games. We're getting close to this.
Yeah.
We're getting close to that bold prediction coming true. We also said that if he played in that many games, he'd be a top. I think you said a top 5, and I think I said a top 3.
Yeah.
So we're way off on that.
Way off,
but
but he
I
is
think
staying healthy.
I think the most impressive part of that bold prediction was that he was going to play in that many games.
You know why he's been healthy, right?
Because he hasn't been on the field.
Because he's been getting I think he has a total of 14 catches this year.
Oh, goodness.
Something like that.
That is sad
You know what
and
I mean?
terrible.
I'd rather him be good for 4 games and then just get injured instead of healthy and you keep playing him.
No production. Yeah.
In this situation, I'm going to start Jalen Samuel over the other two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ain't no question.
Then probably Trey Burton because they did have a good connection with him and Trubisky. And then I'd go with Jordan Reed. But I do agree with what you're saying with Jordan Reed. I
hate Sanchez.
Yeah.
I'll only watch the Redskins because I want Butt Fumble 2.0.
Oh, yeah. Did you see his butt recovery?
No.
You didn't see it?
No.
They said that he totally. It was like a Dumb and Dumber, you totally redeemed yourself. Because he fumbled the ball, but he was reached around his bottom there and tucked it into his butt.
Yeah.
And recovered it with his own hind end.
Oh, wow. Shoot. All right. Let's. And obviously, we're not going to go to any like sits at tight end.
Yeah, if
We're
you
not
have a
gonna
tight end and it just play the matchup, play whoever's projected more at that point. Like
Yeah.
it's so bad at the bottom half of these tight ends that we can't really pick one to sit. Like it's just so you're not sitting tight ends. You know, you're rolling the dice on the bottom half of them.
All right. So all right, let's get on to this next segment. Shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I'm gonna take the lead on this one.
Do
By
it.
all means.
I'll follow.
So, with us coming into the playoffs, a lot of people have a lot of doubts and second thoughts and all this, and
Sure do.
Yeah. So there's a lot of doubts especially for people that don't make the playoffs. There's a lot of, man, if I'd have just grabbed this guy, I'd be looking better in the playoffs. Those type of things that are going on right now. So to start this off, I shoulda drafted Michael Thomas instead of Jerick McKinnon.
Easily.
Oh my God.
I
What
can't
were
believe you did that.
thinking?
I can't believe I did that either. It was a distraction. I had Phil on one phone. I had Josh on another phone. I'm trying to coordinate the entire draft.
You know what it sounds like?
And
This kind of sounds like a wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. It's,
Man, oh man.
yeah, I
sounds
should have,
exactly
could have,
like
would
that.
have had made sure everybody was at my draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already declared that will not happen next year. If somebody's not at my draft, I'm going to have to move on because that's like the third year in a row that I've done it. My draft has been terrible every year I've done that. I'm tired of making the excuse, so next year I'm taking the excuse out.
So was that the only one you wish you could have drafted?
No, there's quite a few, but that's the
Okay.
big one.
All right.
Like I 100% believe that if I would have drafted Michael Thomas instead of Jerick McKinnon, it'd one changed my entire draft, and two, I'd be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah. I'll tell you, one of mine that I regret is drafting Rob Gronkowski. It was like early second round. And, going into the year, I viewed Rob Gronkowski as that difference maker at the tight end, like what Kelsey's doing, Gronk has that ability. I mean, we've seen it before. And, man, that pretty much ruined my year. I mean, it's hard to recover from something like that unless you just have just monster, like, draft picks late, injuries happen or whatever. I just couldn't recover from it.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think this is probably the downfall of Gronk.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll
Yeah.
get back to that prime form, last year, a couple years ago.
Yeah, I don't even know if Gronk's going to play next year, man. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't think
probably
he will.
not.
I just as far as drafting wise, I really wish I would have not drafted Russell Wilson so early.
Yeah.
I
could have got
was on
a-
that with you too.
I could have got a very solid running back or another wide receiver instead, and because I got Matt Ryan in the 10th round,
Yeah.
so that would have been my wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
You got any more? I got another one.
I have one for each. I have a shoulda, a woulda, and a coulda.
Oh wow, okay.
Yep. So here's my woulda. If I woulda just
You woulda.
if I would have just picked up Philip Lindsay instead of sleeping on him in week 1, I would have 3 top 10 running backs on my team in League Show Me Your TDs.
Dude, I traded him.
Yeah, you traded him, but
And
you
Phil
picked him up.
traded
You
him.
didn't pick him
No,
up until.
I dropped him.
No, you traded him to me.
I traded him to you.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Because I went back looking.
I
and
picked
I was
him
like,
up on wait.
I was like,
Marvin
man.
Jones.
Yeah. Ow.
Yeah.
But I got
so,
Golden Tate.
Well, actually, Marvin Jones wasn't doing too bad until he got hurt.
Yeah.
He was actually doing pretty good.
So if I wouldn't have slept on him, I would have had 3 top 10 running backs on my team, with James White being at number 10, Philip Lindsay at number 9, and Todd Gurley.
I'll tell you,
Nobody feels bad for me either, so
I don't.
that's fine.
I will never feel bad for you in that league. Sorry.
I'll tell you another, man, like Doug Baldwin was just a disaster this whole year. And he was going like 4th round, and I'm thinking I'm getting him at a discount. Like I grabbed him in multiple leagues thinking like, wow, like these guys are going to regret like passing up on him. And I took him. I think I might have taken over like a guy like Adam Thielen I really do. I got to go back and check the draft.
Oh,
But,
wow. Nah,
yeah.
I don't think you did.
I don't think
You sure?
I think you got him later than that.
that
There's
doesn't
no
sound
way.
like you.
No, man. Like
I'll tell you in a second.
That
But
doesn't sound like
you can pull it up, man. Because I'll tell you, like I was not high on Adam Thielen going into the year. Like I thought that Diggs would kind of, be that number one guy, but man, he's proven me wrong.
Yeah, if you did that, I feel
picked him up in the 4th round.
Yeah, and Thielen, I want to say Thielen was after that.
Who drafted Thielen? Was it Brian or was it?
I think it was Brian.
Yeah, I think
Shout out Shalamian. Yeah,
4th round.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so he was
on
after.
the
You
turn-
did
yeah.
get him above Thielen. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I regret that.
Oh, that is
awful.
ugly. You got another one, Phil? Let's hear you shoulda.
Things that I should have done this year are kind of haunting me right now.
Right now, it is currently haunting you so hard.
I mean, and I've been saying it all year. I should never have drafted Derrick Henry. I should have never kept him on my team, but I should have played him last night.
It's hard to do.
I had him and D.D. Westbrook on my bench. Now, D.D. Westbrook,
He did okay.
you never knew what you were going to get out of him.
Very
with
solid
that.
game.
Yeah, he did pretty good. I think he scored 14 points.
Now, Derrick Henry was in my lineup until yesterday. I took him out because I said the Jaguars' run game defense is pretty good. Derrick Henry gets like 5 carries a game.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing anything. As soon as the game started, my gut started hurting because I said, what if this is the game that he just goes off?
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, his first carry went for 14 yards. I said, damn it.
Yeah. He texted me immediately. He's like, I have a feeling I should have played Derrick Henry. Like, and that's before his touchdown. Like, he seriously sent me that text, and I was like,
As soon as I saw that
Maybe you
run,
should've
I
put him in.
turned the TV off, and I was like, I can't watch this.
yeah.
61 points on my bench.
Ouch.
And
So-
it's the playoffs.
It's playoffs.
God.
All right, so do you guys have any more? Because I want to end it on this one.
Just end it, bro.
Okay.
We can go on all night.
Yeah, we can. Okay, so I did a little research today, and I could have drafted, and I'm about to tell you the perfect draft. As far as the little bit of research I did, I didn't really like get into it all Albert Einstein like, but I could have drafted Todd Gurley number 1, Tyreek Hill number 2, Devontae Adams number 3, Adam Thielen number 4, Tyler Lockett number 5, Nick Chubb number 6, Robert Woods, Adrian Peterson, George Kittle, Eric Ebron, the Bears defense, James Conner, James White, Phillip Lindsay, Patrick Mahomes, and the kicker Fairbairn. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Kaimi Fairbairn.
So that would have given me the number 1 running back, the number 5 running back, the number 9 running back, the number 10 running back, and like the 12 and 13. That would have given me the number 1, number 2, number 4 wide receiver.
Wow.
Like, that could have been somebody's team.
Yeah.
Like if they would have just drafted like that at the beginning of the season, you'd have been like, "Oh wow, you're really hurting at running back, buddy. Like you got Todd Gurley, but that's it."
Yeah.
And then you get people like James White, who's the number 10 running back, Phillip Lindsay, who's the number 9 running back.
Yeah.
Like that could have been somebody's team. That's crazy. That's crazy to think of.
That.
All right.
Could you imagine?
Actually, I got an ESPN league. It's like that, man. I feel bad. It's 12 team. Like my team is so good, man. And like when you do a draft, and it's like you're at a position in the draft, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna get him. I'm targeting like you're looking down like 15 players. Like, all right, this guy's gonna come back to me. Like I drafted, like I was seriously contemplating 2 guys, like 2 really good players. I'm like, all right, let me go him. And this second guy like came back to me on the turn like 15 picks later. I'm like, okay.
That's kind of like what happened with me with Michael Thomas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
Because Demaryius Thomas got picked right before that. And I was like, did you guys say Michael Thomas or Demaryius? And some guys were like, Michael Thomas? Who's that? And I was like, okay, I'll take Michael Thomas. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. So you guys got anything else? All right, Phil. So, do you have a fantasy stud of the past?
Oh, I got a stud.
Stud. Let's hear it.
All right, let's take it back to.
Going
2010.
back.
Oh,
All right, so we're getting pretty
2010.
recent.
Okay.
Pretty recent.
Yeah.
So wide receiver,
Okay.
he had 77 catches, 1,448 yards, 11 touchdowns. Name that
Is that like?
wide receiver.
I can't even think. Is that dominant? Is that? That's not Calvin Johnson-esque, is it? Like Calvin Johnson did way more than that, right?
In 2010, I don't know.
Is it Calvin Johnson?
Nope.
Okay then. Would that be like a Brandon Marshall or something?
I don't know.
Is it Brandon Marshall?
Nope.
Why are you gonna make me do this? Every
I
time?
just want to see how many you get wrong.
Let's see. 77 catches, 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this: he was in the AFC.
Antonio Brown?
No, he was a rookie then, I think.
Oh yeah.
No.
Was this the number one wide receiver that year? Do you know?
In yards, yes.
Okay.
The AFC.
The next one closest to him was Roddy White.
Roddy White. Wow.
He had 1389. Roddy White.
And the AFC.
Mm-hmm. He's in the AFC. What was it? West, I think.
AFC West.
I think. Let's put it this way: he played for the Denver Broncos.
Oh, Demaryius Thomas.
Nope.
No, that wasn't the year for Thomas.
Man.
2010.
Yeah. And I'm telling you this because this is the only time I've heard of him being anything relevant.
Man, this is. Why is this stumping us so much?
Because you're thinking about players that actually did stuff after this year. This is the only time I remember this guy doing this well.
Oh, this was. I'm thinking of like the first year.
I think he used to play for the 49ers as well.
Brandon Lloyd?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I remember that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brandon Lloyd had a fantasy year.
I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I think Kyle Orton was the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe he was.
Kyle Orton. Yeah, I remember that now. That was like, it was so crazy. He came out of nowhere.
Calvin Johnson had 1,120 yards. Mike Wallace had 1,257.
Wow.
That was the year that Mike Wallace came about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
All
that was
right.
my fantasy stud.
All right. Well, if you're still listening, thank you. We appreciate all the support. You know, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, tune in on Sunday when we do our Facebook Live at what time are we starting at?
Let's say noon.
11:45, noon.
Let's just say noon.
Let's say noon. We're going to do a gallon chug, me and Tyler. So I got to find some fill-ins. Stat. That's all I got. Thanks for listening. You guys got anything?
Just hope you tuned in. Thanks for the support, and good luck in the playoffs. Be sure to tune in and get your last minute advice. Get that good lineup in for your matchup in the playoffs.
Tyler, you got anything, man?
I hear people.
All right. Thanks for listening.